so I wasn't able to get a single subscriber. But that's fine. And if you want to see me review this guy, at least 5 of you, please subscribe. I will appreciate it a lot. Anyway, now I have a question. Do you guys care about the box? Because personally, I don't really care about the box, but I do know there are some people who really care about the box, so here I am showing this to you. But if you guys don't, tell me. I appreciate it. And now, without further ado, let's take a look at the figure itself. This figure stands around 5.5 inches, or if you don't use that, it is also around 14 centimeters, which is that much taller than your average high grade. But compared to my previous review, it's actually that much shorter. And also, here is Figma Gridman just because. Taking a closer look at the model, specifically the head, which is easily the most impressive part about this model. Color separation is easily the best in this area. Each and every color here is a separate piece of plastic. I'm especially liking that clear blue plastic they use. In some cases, it catches light very well, but I can't seem to catch it on camera. Also, the way they integrated the gray plastic, you know, the one that wraps around the yellow parts, I find that impressive. I honestly thought I was gonna be sticker. Also, keep in mind the back and the bottom of the head is kinda hollow. And the back of the neck has some nasty nub marks, so please be careful when you're cutting this area. The base of the neck is actually on a ball hinge which can pull and extend for a wider range of motion. There's a hinge on the top of the neck, and here's that previously mentioned hinge on the base of the neck. And unfortunately, that is the end of the reign of really good part separation, as there are very clearly a lot of missing colors in this area. Specifically those golden pistons that you can find on the chest, which I believe is a defining factor of what makes this design so good. Well, that's unfortunate. Another missing color are those supposedly light gray on those fin thingies under its chest. The back may appear a little bit skinny, but that's just due to the nature of the design. There's no problems here. The upper torso is actually pegged in an angle so it rotates in this manner. And watch this ab crunch go very deep as there's a mid-torso hinge in there. And there's a ball joint at the base of the waist which you can pull and extend for more movement, and you can rotate it. Detailed sculpt work continues onto the arms where there's a lot of surface details such as panel lines, which for some reason is more present in the inner parts of the arm. Missing colors continue onto these parts of the arms, which is supposed to be a light gray. It doesn't even end there neither because part of these fingers are supposed to be white. The box says it all. Before I show you how the arm moves, I want to show you this piston gimmick that happens whenever you move the shoulder forward. The shoulder is on a butterfly joint which hinges forward. Also, it's on a peg so it can rotate up and down. Also, this shoulder thingy can flap up. This arm, due to the unlimiting design, it can go all the way up. There is a bicep rotation, but there's one slight issue. It breaks the sculpt and it's kinda hollow. I guess I meant 2 slight issues. Also, here's that bend on one single peg. This part of the arm is also attached on a peg which can rotate in this way. The wrist is on a ball joint, so you can expect it to wiggle around and rotate. Now looking at the bottom half, it's looking really good. The surface detail is all over the place. But yet again, we're gonna go through missing colors. That's supposed to be yellow, and that is supposed to be yellow, as in that triangular part. And yet again, the box says it all. A cool detail present in the back skirt is that leverage thingy that it does. Specifically, I meant this. Little things like this really makes up a design. And did you think the lack of color was gonna end? Not yet. These rectangles in the middle of the legs, those are supposed to be a light gray. Even that rectangle in the innermost part is supposed to be a dark gray. And you see those triangles? Yeah, they're supposed to be yellow. I don't think I have to repeat myself. Just look at this. Movement starts on the legs with a universal joint which makes it move all the way to the front and all the way to the back. It can move all the way to the side. There's a thigh rotation. The back skirt operates on 2 hinges, one over here and one over here. Now give this one a listen. The ankles are on a hinge which can move all the way to the front and all the way down. The ankle is on a cylindrical joint which lets it do this. There's a toe bend and there's an ankle swivel. Despite the lack of color, what we have is already good on its own. All the major and needed colors are there. Bandai does give a sticker sheet to compensate, but I suggest against it. So you're better off painting the damn thing, but I'm pretty sure you're lazy as I am. As for the articulation side of things, I think it's really good. It can get into almost any pose you'd want it to. And not only that, it doesn't use polycaps. In other words, it's as solid as a rock. The options of this kit are plentiful, mostly being weapons and some option parts. Starting with these open hands you've been seeing throughout the entire review, these closed hands which are also the holding hands which suffer the same color separation issue, and lastly there's this trigger finger hand which surprisingly enough is more color accurate. Unfortunately though, we are provided with only 2 back hand covers for the open hands and the closed hands, so you're gonna have to switch and switch. The holding hands in this kit are specifically used for the sword here. It is detailed enough, but is only molded in one color, which brings one problem. This part, it's not white. I'm gonna get canceled. No, seriously, that part is supposed to be white. To attach the sword in the hand is fairly easy. All you have to do is put the sword in the hand and cover it up with the back. The sword is practically a paperweight, so he has no weight issues when holding the sword whatsoever. The next held accessory, but for the trigger finger hand, is this gun, which is riddled with a lot of detail. I mean, look at this. And just like the sword, you just have to sandwich the gun in between the hand parts. As easy as that. And just like the sword, this thing is extremely light, so don't expect any weight issues. This next accessory is what you've been seeing on the arm the entire time. It's a shield with a blade on it, which simply pegs onto the arm as I show you here. And this shield is actually only seen being used in this incomplete state. Speaking of which, I am now gonna change it into the complete state. And as simple as swapping out the shoulders and giving him a new backpack, he is now in his complete form. And unfortunately, these shoulders lack some color. These tops are supposed to be dark gray, and these sides are supposed to be a light gray. Both of these shoulders practically have the same range. And unfortunately, they also both share the same scalp-breaking bicep rotation, which is also hollow. The next addition of the complete form is this backpack. The backpack has sub-arms that moves in 1, 2, 3 swivels, which is actually enough for the arms to reach for the weapon. And just like the vast majority of Bandai's model kits, it has a butthole, where you can have a non-included stand plug into it. And with that, you have that much more options. I honestly wanted this as the thumbnail. So is the high-grade Kyokai Senki line gonna be the best high-grade line Bandai has ever made? Honestly, I have not gotten enough high grades to say something like that. But what I can safely say is that this high-grade line is actually headed to a really good direction. I bought this guy around $18, so I can say it's worth it. The part separation could have been a bit better in some areas, but that would have inflated the price a lot more. So as it is, good color separation, good articulation, and good accessories. Now it's up to you whether you think it's worth it or not. Because don't you forget, I'm here to help your decision, not make them. And like I said in the beginning of the video and the previous video, I will be reviewing this guy right here if 5 of you subscribe. Or just in case 5 of you don't subscribe, or you 5 subscribers want something else, I have a bunch of other stuff. So for those who've made it this far, which do you prefer? My latest video, which is this, or my previous video? I wonder, because this video was like full of way less gags than the previous one, so just tell me. I appreciate feedback a lot.